Hello, I'm Dr. Tinu Tadese. I just wanted to talk to you about your own story. So we've been talking about telling your own story. You have to tell it because someone else is going to tell it for you. So today I want to tell you a little bit about this. There are two kinds of stories I want us to focus on. One is what you're telling yourself, that is the story you're telling yourself, and the story you're telling others. So I have my iPad here so I don't forget any of the points I want to make. To tell a story to yourself is very important because if you do not tell that story to yourself, the stories others have been telling about you would have gotten into your head, and that's all you're going to remember. And if people tell you you're not good enough, guess what you're telling yourself? You're not good enough. When you tell yourself you're not good enough, you will not reach for the next thing. You will not reach for things that people think you're not deserving. But if you tell yourself a good story based on what you have within you, things you've done in your past, realistic stories, nonetheless, they are your stories and they're not stories people are telling you. These are true stories about yourself. Then you are likely to reach out to the next thing. So I want us to talk about that. How do you tell yourself a good story? You need to do what I call a deep dive. And for those who've been my students in the past, you have to have a brag bank. Whether you've been my student or not, I want you to know that a brag bank is one of the best things you can develop for yourself. In there, you have put in there your skills. So you have hard skills, you have soft skills. This is a very short, just teaching a lesson I'm giving you, but you can go research these things. You want to put in the degrees you've had in the past. So maybe, of course, you've had your degree MBBS or MD or MBCHB. You put that in one of the columns or one of the rows on the spreadsheet that you're going to develop for yourself. It's called a brag bank. You're bragging about yourself. You have to brag about yourself to yourself first before you can brag to somebody else. So you put your hard skills, your soft skills, you put in the certifications you've had, and then you put in experiences you've had in the past. Places and things that people have said you did well. You put your work experiences, you put all these things in there. You really settle down and do a deep dive. Give yourself about an hour or two, go away from it, come back again, remember a few things, come back and put some more. The more you write, the more you start to see yourself in a new light. When you see yourself in a new light, then you can tell a good story to yourself, about yourself. So you get those voices out of your head and you put in your own voice and you start to tell yourself, I'm not just good enough, I am more than good enough. I can do this. I can go to my next level. So that's the first story, the one you tell yourself. Now, the story you tell others is very important because if you don't tell that story that you've been telling yourself, your good story, no one is going to believe you. So you're going to take it out of yourself and start to tell it to others. Now, if you're looking for a job, you have to tell it to a recruiter. You have to tell it to a hiring manager. You do know that when you're looking for a job, the first person you usually interact with on that journey is a recruiter. They're the ones who go to LinkedIn and go search for you. They look for your skills and so on. We'll talk about that in a later lesson. These are short 3-minute lessons, but I just want to give something back to my community and to let you know that in your resume, that story has to come out very strong. Your recruiter needs to know it, and the hiring manager, the person who makes the last decision on whether they hire you or not, they need to hear that story. When you paint a good story, a good picture about yourself, you say it long enough. You may even want to say it to someone close to you, someone you know who believes in you. You want to say that so much that you believe it, that when you tell them in your resume, because that's where we're going to go next, how you tell it in your resume, that is going to get you to your next place. But first, we'll start with the brag bank. So what's your assignment for today? Your assignment is to go settle down and develop a brag bank for yourself. I'm Dr. Tinu Tadese. I'm glad you listened to this. I hope it was helpful.